Hey everyone, it's Miss Garza, and in case you didn't already know that, I am a 7th grade English teacher, and today I'm going to be talking about what the heck is a clause. So there are two different types of clauses. It's independent and dependent, and we're going to be talking about both today, okay? Let's get into it. Alright, what the heck is a clause? A clause is a statement with a subject and a predicate, otherwise known as a statement with one noun and one verb, subject, predicate. There are two different types of clauses, an independent clause and a dependent clause. So I have anthropomorphized the clauses. If you don't know what anthropomorphize means, it means that I made it sound like a human, anthro. I made it sound like a human so that you could understand it. So here's Ian, the independent clause, and here's Donnie, the dependent clause. In fact, you could even say it, Donnie, the independent, or the dependent clause. Okay, so let's skip all that. Independent. An independent clause is one that can stand on its own. It can be made into a sentence. It's a subject and a predicate, but it can stand all by itself. The dependent clause, well, Donnie's kind of lazy. He cannot stand on his own. He cannot be made into a sentence, and he sometimes starts with a conjunction. So that's a good way to tell them apart. The big difference is that Ian, as a person, is smart, and he has a job, and he pays rent, and he has a girlfriend and a car, and he does all these awesome things. He's independent. He can stand all by himself. Donnie, on the other hand, is lazy. He lives on his brother's couch. He doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a dog. He has nothing. He's lazy. He just sits on the couch all day, eating potato chips, and he's a dependent clause. Donnie wouldn't be able to do anything if he didn't have Ian. So I want you to keep that in mind for the next video on the 4 types of sentences. But let's start back up on independent and dependent. It is story time! Okay, so I have this book. It's called Worms Wiggle. It's by David Pelham and Michael Foreman. And I'm going to read a couple of pages from it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, even though it's absolutely delightful. Okay, these are some excerpts. Worms wiggle. Worms wiggle. Frogs, what do? They leap. Snakes slide. There's the snake right there. And last but not least, kittens. Oh, so cute. Kittens pounce. Yay! Okay, so you're thinking, why did she read me this book? It'll make sense on the next slide. Let's put it all together. Ian, the independent clause, and Donnie, the dependent clause, can both be seen in this book, except there's some changes. So the sentence, worms wiggle, is an independent clause. If I didn't have this period and this wasn't capitalized, worms wiggle is an independent clause because worms is the noun and wiggles is the predicate. Subject, predicate. That's it. Independent clause. And you're thinking, God, that can't be it. It's only 2 words. How can it be a sentence? Guess what? It is. Okay. Dependent clause. Donnie, the dependent clause, is really similar to his brother Ian, but they're not the same. Donnie says, because worms wiggle. Worms is still the noun, wiggles is still the predicate, but the word because is a conjunction. And when you have a sentence that starts with a conjunction, or you have a dependent clause, it's an incomplete thought. So if I say, because worms wiggle, you think that there's something else coming after it, and that means it's an independent thought, and that means it can't be a sentence. It's never a sentence, even if you put a period, even if you capitalize because. It's never a sentence. It's a dependent clause. All right, that's the big difference between Ian and Donnie. It's really not that big difference, but it is important. Okay, but Miss Garza, what are those conjunction things? I'm sure that's exactly what you're asking because you're wondering how I got because in there. I don't want to get too much into conjunctions, but I will tell you that a conjunction is a word that you can use to connect 2 clauses together. And I'm going to get more in depth on this on the 4 types of sentences. But in case you're wondering, these are some different conjunctions that you might see attached to Donnie, the dependent clause. And if you need any help with anything from this video, you can always rewatch it. You can always watch my video, what the heck is a noun, what the heck is a verb, what the heck is an adjective. And if you need any other help, you can always find it at my website, and it's www.missgarzas.weebly.com. That is MSGARZAS. Everyone forgets the S. ELA.weebly.com. I hope this has been helpful, and remember, reading inspires.